Well, happy Easter, Eliot Church. I want to start with a question for the kids. I know it's hard sometimes to sit through all of worship. You're used to going to Sunday school, so I just wonder how many of you got up this morning to check and see if the Easter Bunny had filled your Easter baskets? Anybody? How many of you got up to hunt for eggs, maybe hiding behind the curtains or the house plants or outside in the yard? Anybody get up to look for eggs? Maybe you're going to do that later? Yeah? Did you all find what you were looking for? Did you find an Easter basket or did you find some eggs? You found some eggs? It's fun, isn't it, to find what we're looking for when we go on a hunt like that? Well, I want to encourage you guys, if you get a little bit bored during the next part of the service, you can hunt in this picture on the front of your bulletin. Moms and dads and grandparents can share it. This beautiful piece of art has lots of hidden pictures in it that have to do with the story of Jesus. So if you need something to help keep you busy, there's the activity bags in the back. You can also look at this picture and see what you can find hiding in there. For the grown-ups, I have a different kind of story about hunting for something. On that very first Easter morning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, they got up very early, as soon as the first light of the morning peeked through their windows. They wanted to look for something. And they knew exactly what they were looking for just as surely as our children knew what they were looking for when they woke up this morning. Mary and Mary, they didn't even have to hunt for what they were seeking. They knew just where to find it. It was exactly where they left it 36 hours before. Mary and Martha got up with the sun on Easter morning and went to look at the tomb. Can you imagine the two of them, the closest of friends, going there together just 2 days after their beloved teacher and leader and friend had died? Did they hold hands? Did they say to one another, "I just can't believe it. 3 days ago we were eating dinner together and now he's gone"? I can imagine them huddled together on a bench near the tomb, always under the watchful eye of those guards. Did they sing softly to one another? Did they tell their favorite stories and try to laugh a little bit? Did they embrace when the tears welled up? Mary and Mary went looking for a tomb, hunting for a man who had been crucified. Why did they do this, we might ask? It might have been dangerous, we could imagine, to visit the tomb of somebody who had been executed for treason, for sedition. But I guess their fear was not more powerful than their love, because they went to grieve and to mourn and to express their deep, deep affection for this man who had defined and redefined their lives over the past 3 years. But why did they go to the tomb of Jesus? These women, they were some of the most faithful of all Jesus' disciples. They did not scatter and abandon Jesus in his hour of need. They were there until the very end. Had Mary and Mary forgotten what had happened with Lazarus? Did they not remember what Jesus had told them multiple times about his resurrection on the third day? Did they not believe? They were looking for a tomb. Had they forgotten? Did they not remember? Did they not believe? If we're honest, church, I wonder if we might find are in their company? Might we find that we also think we know exactly what we are looking for, exactly what we can expect from our day, exactly what we can expect from our relationships, exactly what we can expect out of life in general? Do we not get up when the first light of morning peeks through our windows and expect that today will be more or less like yesterday? Maybe we indulge our grief over a loved one for as long as our friends will endure it, and then we learn how to hide it till it eats away at us. Or we gird ourselves for our difficult encounters with difficult people, whether that be a coworker or a boss or a spouse or a parent or a child. We stay steadfast in our anger or our pride, or maybe even our self-hatred. We look at our agendas and we lace up our running shoes so that we can sprint through another day without a pause for reflection, for breath, for grace. We turn on the news or stare into our screens to find food for our inner cynic, becoming increasingly convinced that the world is getting worse and people are moving farther apart. Today is not the first time that most of us have celebrated Easter, the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the tomb. Yet we get up so many mornings and we look for death. Have we forgotten? Do we not remember? Do we not believe? Will we find what we are looking for today? Will Mary and you and me find only a tomb, only a dead man, only unmitigated grief, only unchanged relationships, breathless days, and a fractured and fearful world? Conventional wisdom says, yes, we will see what we want to see. The wisdom of experience says that yes, what happened before is likely to happen again. Today will be more or less like yesterday. And there they are, Mary and Mary, sitting on a bench, grieving outside of a tomb, weeping and shaking their heads, singing and embracing, when suddenly the earth shakes. An angel descends, the stone rolls back, the guards freeze with fear. I know what you are looking for, the angel says. I know that you are looking for Jesus who has been crucified. I know that you forgot. I know that you do not remember. I know that you do not always believe. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, because today you will not find what you are looking for. Today is not like yesterday, for he is not here. He is risen. Easter is an interruption. Easter interrupts our search for exactly what we think we will find. Easter interrupts our grief, our hurt, our anxiety, our fears, even our past experience, even our lack of faith. And Easter is also an invitation to see something else instead. We look for a tomb, for a dead man, for grief, hurt, anxiety, fear. But instead we find, you want me to say Jesus? It's not Jesus. Not yet. Come, the angel says. See the place where he lay. It's not Jesus, but it's an opening where they expected a wall. An empty place where they expected to find a corpse. And this is how Easter begins, in the hearts of forgetful, faithless, fearful disciples. Even when it is earth-shaking and awe-inspiring, Easter does not happen all at once. Easter begins with a possibility so small that it's almost nothing at all. Like a seed or a bulb buried in the earth in March, still hidden out of sight in mid-April, waiting for sun and rain to call it forth. Or like a fetus in the earliest stages of development, still unknown even to the mother who carries it, waiting to be named and loved and brought to birth. The Marys see an opening in the wall, an empty place in the tomb. It's not much. They listen to the angel's promise that Jesus has already gone on ahead of them and that they will find him, they will see him in Galilee. They hear the angel's call to go and tell others. These women do not know from their own experience that Jesus is alive. They have only a promise, only an opening, only an empty place. But resurrection has taken root. New life has been conceived. Matthew says that they were filled with fear and great joy. And with fear and great joy, they went. They ran even to tell the others. The Easter possibility that has come from outside of these two women and interrupted their search for death has opened them to something inside. I'm going to call it Easter courage. With joy and fear held side by side, the Marys went to tell. I can think of no better description of courage than going forth while you hold joy and fear together. And there on the road is where they met Jesus face to face. There, in their courageous obedience, is where they took hold of the new life that came first as an interruption in their search for death. New life that germinated as just a shadow of a possibility in the depths of the earth's womb. There, having stepped out with so little to hold, but so much hope, so much courage, they took hold of Jesus himself. Friends, everything that told us to look for death when we got up this morning will continue to tell us that death, hurt, emptiness, division, and more brokenness awaits around the next corner. Easter is not just the power of positive thinking. Easter is not change what you look for and you will find something better. The possibility of new life, the possibility of a new reality, the possibility of Easter breaks in on us unannounced when we're not looking for it, when we cannot control it. It is sheer grace. It invites us to believe that we will not always find what we are looking for, because the God we serve is not defined by the limits of our past experience. The God we serve is not even defined by the limits of our imagination. Easter, especially when we celebrate it in community with others, gives us courage to hold our joy and our fear side by side and to move toward the new life that has been promised. It gives us courage to grieve, but also to love again. It gives us courage to forgive and ask forgiveness and build healthy new relationships. It gives us courage to put away our day planners and find that our purpose is not in what we do or how busy we are, but in who we are as children of God. Easter gives us courage to listen to our opponents and to work for a better, saner, kinder world. Easter tells us that when we go together to share what we have seen and heard and hoped, even though we are afraid, Jesus himself will be with us. I know what you are looking for, what you're expecting to find, because I look for those things too. I know that we all expect that tomorrow will be a lot like yesterday. This Easter, my prayer for you is that you will not find what you are looking for. May your search be interrupted by an angel who invites you to see a possibility so small that it is almost nothing. And may that small grace be just enough to plant a seed, to conceive a new life. And may you have the courage and the community to bring it to flower, to labor it into the world until you meet Jesus face to face and take full hold of the new life that he brings. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Hallelujah. Amen.